Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to another phenomenal afternoon, evening around the world with Uncensored Conversation with Elevated Not Tolerated. I'm your hostess, Victoria Holland, and I am so super excited about this phenomenal guest that we have on tonight. So I'm gonna need everybody to go out there, care, share, like, and tell somebody the queen of weddings in the North Carolina and surrounding areas is in the house. The phenomenal, the honorable Lady Catrina Reese is in the house on tonight. We are so super excited about having you with us tonight. She's going to tell you a lot about her. We want you to get your pen and paper out and get ready, especially those that are ready to take that next leap into love, marriage, forever, because she's going to tell you all about her amazing services that she offers, as well as how she got into this business. And if you want to be one of us, she can even teach you how to do that too. Catrina, it is such a pleasure to have you with us on tonight. It's been such a long time for us to be on the show together. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. I am so excited about being on Uncensored Conversation.
Oh, well, you always have a place here with us. Many of y'all might remember Katrina was also a part of the Coaches on Parade. She was a part of the Favors Fair Conference. She's been a part of anything that I know of that I'm able to connect with her on since 2000. And I want to say, I don't know, it's 2000 something, y'all. We know that. Oh, that's kind of bad. What, 10? I don't know. I know
It's been a
probably
while. Yeah, it's been a while.
it's been a while, but I tell you, she has always been someone who's very inspirational to me. She gives all that she has to whatever she does, and so what she's doing there, it doesn't surprise me that she's taking it by force and pushing down those walls and breaking some barriers and causing some things to happen in the atmosphere. So, Katrina, I'm gonna let you tell the people a little about yourself, and then I got a little surprise for you.
Ooh, okay. Well, first of all, thank you so much. I am super excited about being on and being able to talk to your listeners, your fans, everybody that is on tonight and that will be listening later on. But I am Katrina Reese. My business is called Catrina Reese LLC. I am a wife. I am a mom. I'm a grandma. I love the
Wow.
Lord. Um, but one of the biggest things that I can say is I feel like I'm finally walking in my purpose, where God
Wow.
has really instructed me to be right now, in my life.
Wow. I tell you, I hear that. And sometimes, Katrina, I think people don't understand that as much as we go through to be and do what we're called to do, that comes with some struggles. That comes with some setbacks, if you will. It comes with some distractions. But I was listening to a gentleman this afternoon, and he said, if you're dreaming, well, actually, it was Denzel Washington, y'all. Okay, that young fellow. He said, if you're dreaming with no goals, then you're just dreaming. And I can really say that I think you have always dreamed with goals, but the goals were already in front of you because the destiny had already been prepared for you. I mean, there were things that I could see you doing, and it just made sense. It all started clicking together when you really started walking forward in everything that you're doing now. And it just kind of like, that's what it is. I don't like to use that phrase all the time, aha moment, but it's like the light bulb went off and said, that's the real Katrina Reese. That's who she is. Because people know that you are a $1 million gospel singer. Hey, we're still going in that red carpet. I don't care what anybody says, but you're an amazing gospel singer. You're an amazing author and publisher. You are an amazing businesswoman altogether. And so all of this just fits into your purpose and your destiny. And I don't think, we touch on that enough with people, that it's important to get with people that have great mindsets that are going forward with meeting their destiny and what God has designed for them. And you are truly a mentor, and you are truly a legacy for me to follow behind to say, if she can do it, I can too. So, Katrina, I have put together a little something just for the people. I hope you will enjoy.
Okay. Oh, that was such a beautiful tribute. Thank
Oh, you
you.
are more than welcome. I was trying to find all the things. I was like, wait a minute, I can't, it's so, you have so many things out there. It was kind of hard. Like, I definitely want to make sure I covered, you and your husband as a team, because that excites me. Every time I see you and him working together, I say, I got to make sure I have that, but I got to make sure that they see that she's got all of these other things. But I want them to see how beautiful all of the couples that you have joined together look. And it was so many, I couldn't pick the right ones. I just thought I just grabbed one. I was just grabbing. But everything that I could see, it just speaks of your elegance. It speaks of your excellence, and it speaks of your integrity and character. And I just wanted people to just have a little bit, just to see who you were. And I am so honored again to have you with us tonight. Girl, you just make me all lovable and fuzzy and stuff. I can't wait for my Abraham to come.
Honey child, trust me. I think what you said earlier when it talks about struggle, because I can think back. I was just having this conversation with God sitting on the couch earlier today. And
Wow.
I was just sitting there and I was like, God, right here in my life where I am, even though there are so many things going on around me and in my life
Yes.
that aren't good, I say, but right now where I am in my life, I feel like I'm at peace. I feel like this is where I'm
Wow.
supposed to be. And I kind of got a little teary eyed because I was like, I thought about all the things and all the years where I was grasping at so many different things. And then how probably 6 years ago, just one conversation that I had with my brother just brought it all together. And you said
Wow.
it, when you're doing so many things and God has given you so many gifts and talents, and then you look at what somebody else is doing and you try to compare your gifts and talents, and you're like, oh, I'm not doing enough. And God is like, you know what? You need to go sit down. For one thing, if you're working or doing, I want to encourage somebody, if you're working and doing something and it looks like it's not working, sometimes go back and look at it and see if
Telling
what
the
you're
truth.
working on really and truly is ordained by God for
That's
you
it.
during
Mhm.
this time. And so as I thought about the life coaching, I thought about the publishing, I thought about, I started out as a singing. And I was like, how is all of this going to come together, God? And
Yeah.
then when it all came together, it was like, oh my God, that's why I was doing this. That's why I
Right.
was doing that, because it all comes back to, I'm going to touch the people in this arena because I've got that experience and background in that. I'm going to touch people in this arena because I've gone through that. I've gone through divorce. I've gone through, getting pregnant, out of wedlock. I've gone, all of the things that have happened in my life were for this moment in
Right.
time for to help someone else.
That's right. And see, and you said that so beautifully. And I don't think people realize it as much as we think about it. Hey, Cake, thanks for joining us, my friend. But that is the truth. Everything that we have gone through always ends up being a part of the package deal. I think so many times when we're offering packages to clients and we say, this is a package deal, they really don't know that you really are getting a package deal. You're getting all of those things that, most people don't even realize how you got to this place. And, just to be a part of somebody else's life that you can actually speak life into and help them understand. And like you said, all the things that you went through, being the life coach, being the wife and then divorce and then remarrying, and then, all of those things, and then having to go through all of the good stuff starting to unravel, the singing, the opportunities to be on big stages now, and the opportunities to do these amazing weddings in amazing places. All of this was a part of the pie. It's a part of us getting to that place. It's a part of us being authentically who we are
Mhm.
ordained to be. And so when you say, when people look at you, they're thinking, oh, well, she's just the wedding officiant. No, she's far from being the wedding officiant, guys. This is a magical story made right in front of your eyes by God. It was designed by God. And that's how I'm kind of trying to look at things now, Katrina. I've gone from, oh, wait a minute, wait to I'm at this part of the river where I'm saying, this is a magical story that God has created. And it has its ups and downs, but at the end of the day, it's what God has designed for us to be. It's our authentic selves. It's we're who we're ordained to be. So I want to touch into a couple of things. And one of those things is, like you said, you started out doing some other things. You were singing, and many of you, man, she is gal. I'm telling y'all, she has got the voice from heaven. Y'all just, she just makes you want to just go, wow, God, can I get a piece of that?
Oh, thank
Because
you.
it's
Thank you.
amazing. But what was it like through going through the transition? I think, because you stated it, can you kind of talk to the people about the transition, how when you transition from one piece of pie, part of the pie, and then it comes into a whole pie. Can you kind of walk us through what that looked like in your life?
Oh yeah. I would say, singing will always be my first passion. That will always be my first love. And so it kind of gravitated because singing in weddings, singing in church, singing all over. And then after I accepted my call into the ministry, sitting under a house where you had to learn to do things in excellence. Not saying
Hello.
the previous churches that I were a part of weren't
Oh yeah.
teaching me that, but I think once I realized that God was taking me to another level, then I had to begin to operate like he requires us to operate as
That's right.
as kingdom citizens. So
That's right.
I think after I moved and accept my calling, and then I did the life coaching thing, I got certified, I did all of that. My heart has always been to help people. I think I get that from my parents because they
This
both are educators. So that has always been my heart, to help people. Sometimes people take advantage of that, and they have in the past. But I say that probably started everything. And then the transition happened when, right before COVID, I would say, a friend of mine, of my sister's, she asked me to officiate her wedding, and they wanted me to also do counseling with them. And so, of course, because I'm, licensed and certified in counseling and coaching, that's kind of how it started. And then
right.
once, I said, you know what? I think I might want to do this as a business. So I started positioning myself, researching, find out
Right.
how can I make this a viable business. And so that's when I hired my business coach. And so she talked me through all of that for at least 6 months to a year, helping
Wow.
me get in position, helping me set myself up as an LLC, helping me do budgeting, helping me understand that you have to pay yourself first. If you're going to be a business, first of all, you have to pay yourself first. And then you learn how, where to put the money and expenses, and where
Hmm.
to even find your target audience, being a wedding, consultant, the knot, wedding wire, but also just learning and understanding that you have to continue to be a learner when it comes to any business that you're in, because, people are always going into whatever line of work you're in. But how do you stay one
Hmm.
step ahead? That's the
That's
thing
right.
that I want to tell with everybody. Learn how to stay one step ahead and how to be in demand. So when people see that,
That's good.
you, yeah, you have a heart for what you do, that those people will gravitate to you. Have I had my Brazillas? Most definitely. I've had a few of those.
Wow.
Um, I've had some couples that I've even counseled that ended up not getting married, you know, because they realized
Wow.
they weren't, ready. They weren't in that space yet. So you learn, what to do and what not to do. And I always would encourage, the listeners, always be a student.
Mm,
You are not
that's
going to know
good.
everything. You're not going to know
That's
everything, and
good.
don't think you know everything. Lean on those that are up a little bit higher than where you are, and then follow them. Get them to mentor you. Right now I'm a current mentor with Mentor Makers, and so I'm giving back. And so that's what I asked
That's
God
it.
in probably the last year. Lord, show me how, as an officiant, as a wedding consultant, can I give back? So that's what I've been doing. And as I give back, he continues to just pour, into my life.
Wow. Wow. And that's, that's the thing, the key I think too that makes great leaders. Those leaders who really give back. Because you can do things all the time, but giving back to other people is more important. We of course we in the businesses to make money, of course, but you have to have a real passion for what you do. Hey, Mike, thanks for joining us. But you have to have a real passion in what you do. But like you said, be business, do what you got to do to keep yourself in the forefront. And sometimes, and this is one of the things that I've learned, you know, Katrina, is that sometimes you can't tell it all. Uh,
Come on, come on.
that's one. That's one of the.
Let me speak on that because
Yes.
you and I have had conversations over the years
Oh
about
yes.
things, and I'm at the point now, I do believe, Victoria, in my life where, I've given to people and I've done things for people for free. But now God spoke specifically to me. And, my husband and I, we've had this conversation over and over again. He said, babe, with the knowledge that you have, it's now time for you to start charging people for what you know. And so when you begin to follow other people that are doing great things, then you find out from them, I can give you just enough. And then from this point, whatever skills and knowledge that have helped me to be successful, you have to pay for that now. I just can't give that away
That's it.
anymore. And again, don't
That's
get me
it.
wrong. There are some people that I give because I know their heart, I know their intent. And then there's some people that, they have to pay.
Mm,
They have to pay for what the knowledge base that I have. That's how all the other well-known coaches, business owners, they give away a little bit, but when you want to get to the nuts and bolts, you got to pay. You got to invest in
that's it.
yourself. That's why I got a business
That's it.
coach. I had to learn to invest in myself.
That's it. And you're telling the truth. And to all of you that are tuning in now or maybe tuning in later, we are talking to the phenomenal, this amazing young lady, Katrina Reese Home. Katrina Home. I always do your name backwards. Why do I do that? Anyway, Katrina Reese is with us tonight. She is giving us some tidbits on a lot of things. So pay attention, pay attention. You don't want to miss this. And tell other people to go out there and care, share, and like and be a part of this conversation as well. And Katrina, it's like this, like you said, and we've had the conversation over and over. And I think you've said it to me multiple times, Victoria, look, you can do this, but you need to, Victoria, and now, okay, Katrina, it's finally sunk in. After some time, it's finally sunk in because, like you say, we have worked so very hard for the knowledge and the wisdom that we do have. We knocked down some bridges for other people. We've showed other folks how to do some things based on
Mhm.
our own hardship, and we have given, but in some cases we haven't got that same return. And so we have, and it's not a tick for tack, but it's business. Because one of the things I wish people would understand, that even from the pulpit to the corner store, is business. It's business, people.
Correct.
You have to understand that everything has some type of cost attached to it. And so when we have gone through all of these things that we've gone through, being coaches, you know, everybody thinks it's easy because it is a trendy thing, but you have to stay on top of your game in order to understand it, to be one of those people that are sought after. You have to be one of those people that actually study your work. You have to study what is truly a part of who you are. Do you
Hmm.
understand your true worth? When you understand your true worth, then you'll understand that it comes with a price for someone else to learn from you. Everything ain't free. We can do as much as we can do. We can share as much as we can share. But at some point, when you're talking to somebody repeatedly for hours and days and weeks and months and years, and Kay, can I get an answer? Kay, hey, can I get? No. At some point, did you write this down the first 10 times I told you? Did you do the research that I told you 10 times before? Because I don't mind helping you, but at some point, it stops being a favor. It stops being a favor and it becomes to being a business.
Come
Because,
on.
friends, favor is fair.
Come on.
However,
Come on.
favor is a gift that you have to earn. And earning
Correct.
means there's a price that you might have to pay.
Correct. And I think the biggest thing for me was because, and you have the same type of heart, and a lot of people that I know that end up being coaches are in this business. We have a giving heart. We want to
Yes.
see people be blessed. We want people to, walk in their purpose, walk in their giftings, walk in their talents, walk in the anointing that God has placed upon their lives. And I learned several years ago from a very dear friend of mine that I went to church with at Parkwood CME, and she said, "You have to learn to cut the cord. You have to learn that once you've done all you're supposed to do, you have to then let God be God and let Him continue to move and navigate them. You aren't God, you aren't their Savior, and you have to let God be God." And when I learned that and was told that at one point in my life I was an enabler, that really struck home with me. So I have to
Yes.
remember constantly that I can only do but so much, and I'm only supposed to do but so much when it comes to people in my life, my
That's right.
clients, whatever. Then at a certain point, I have to seek counsel from God. And when He says, "Okay, you've done all that you could do, now you got to let me do the rest." And then I have to do that and speak to them in that way that they understand. Because as coaches, if we don't say it correctly, and sometimes we can be a little bit hard and we can give them the truth and love, but if we don't say it and then let it go, then we've done not only ourselves a disservice, but we've done our client a disservice.
It's true.
Another thing is, we were talking about worth. When I first started out doing this, I was charging, not enough. I would have people that would, a lot of my clients would say, I researched somebody else and they charged 3 times more than you charged, but they still came to me because I was cheaper. But I still gave them the quality as if
That's it.
they were being serviced by somebody that they paid 3 times more for. That's another thing. You have to give them the same quality as if they're paying one amount, two
Exactly.
amounts, three amounts, whatever. You have to do that because that's how God requires us to do. We have to operate in excellence, and we have to make sure that if we're charging people what we're charging them, we got to give them what we're charging them. That makes a
That's
big difference. I'm not going to charge you $300 and I'm only giving you $150 worth of work. No, no, no,
true.
no. That's
That's true.
that's not excellence. That's not how God wants us to do. The other thing is, a lot of my clients now versus 5 years ago are strangers. A lot of my clientele are complete strangers. I've
Mm-hmm.
done things for family, and I still, am open for family and friends. But a lot of my business, when you start operating in a real business, your friends and family aren't no longer going to be your clientele. Your clientele has to be those that are assigned to you from outside of your sphere.
That's it. That is it. And this is the thing. When we get, and I think, because one of the things that we're going to be talking about tomorrow night, I have my master class tomorrow night. We're going to be talking about elevating and unleashing your authentic self. And
Mhm.
one of the things that we're going to touch on, and if you haven't registered, you need to go out there and register.
Get
You
registered,
still
guys.
have time. You can register up until 1 hour before the class starts, and we'll give you that information shortly. But one of the things that you got to understand is when you have finally got into your arena, you know, like you said, you're working up your confidence, you're working up your abilities and your skills. And once you can kind of play with it along the way as you're going, because you are testing the water.
Hmm.
You are doing the research, you're putting two pieces together, but half of the piece isn't at the right size, so the next time you do it, you raise the size. But when you raise the size, you have to raise the price. Oh, okay. When you raise the size, you got to raise the price. What is you're saying? If you're going to ever get ahead in this, you have got to raise the bar of your own excellence. If you keep working at $1.99 mentality, $1.99 is all you're going to get.
Correct.
If your mentality is that you know that your skills are worth $1,000, then why are you only charging $5.95? Let's
Come
get to
on.
the real deal. Let's get to the real cornerstone of what we're talking about. It's time for us to elevate our minds to the realness of who we are. We have to begin to think as God has thought for us. He chooses us to do these things, and He chooses us because He expects us to do it in excellence, because He has given us the gift.
Correct.
Would He
Correct. I
give us
totally
something
agree.
He would? I don't think God would give us something that He does not intend for us to do half sides. I just don't believe that. Good evening, Michelle. Thanks for joining. I think it's important that we understand that what God has designed for us, it is for us. It's time to raise up our standard and say, God, okay, you said I could do all things through who? Okay, so I can do all
Christ.
things through you, God. Now I can do it. I can do it. We got to be that little train that said, I know I can. God, you said I can raise the bar on what I'm doing because now I've learned some things. Now, in that early stage, you may be able to give a free gift away just so you can learn. You may be able to give a book away because you're getting your feet wet in the publishing. You may be able to, but once you get past that bar, then everyone that is around you has to understand what you saw yesterday is not who I am today. And if
Correct.
people are really supporting you, and Katrina, I've learned this the hard way. If people are really, really supporting you, they will help you raise the bar. They will tell you, like your coach, like my coach has said, look, Victoria, you've been doing coaching long enough that you ain't got to give nobody a free class. They got to pay for what you're giving. If your clientele is telling you, now look, y'all know we bad when the clientele is telling us that we need to raise our bars. When the clientele say, Katrina, that wedding you did, girl, it was good, but you could have made an extra 1,000 if you had just asked. If our clients are telling us that, they're telling us how valuable we are. It's time for
Correct.
you to elevate to your next level. And sometimes what I'm finding out, and one of the things we're going to talk about tomorrow is this: have you really sought out your true value within yourself?
Correct. Correct. I totally agree with that because I think we have been as a Christian, as a religious community,
Come on.
we've been told that oh, you're not supposed to charge, you're supposed to do this, this is ministry, and this is how you're supposed to do it, and blah blah blah. And I learned from a non-believer that operates
Come
in
on.
kingdom principles that that's all
Yes.
great, but if you operate the kingdom principles as a kingdom believer, you're going to get more than what that person that isn't a Christian but still operating in the principles. You get what I'm saying? Because God
That's
is looking
it.
at you operating in the obedience of the principles. That's where we get it twisted. As
That's
long as
it.
you are
That's it.
he's going to it says that he's going to reign on the just and the unjust. As
That's
long
it.
as whoever is operating in those principles, God is going to bless them. And we get mad because we're like, oh God, I prayed, I paid my tithes, I did this. But were you truly operating in the kingdom principles? Because trust me, when you start operating in the principles, and I learned this too the hard way, I
Mm-hmm.
promise you, it will come. The money will come. The clients will come. Everything else will come. Yeah, the enemy's gonna come and he's gonna raise his head
Oh
because
yeah.
that is his job to come
Yep.
to steal,
Yep.
kill, and destroy.
That's
But
true.
you have to remember that I know who I am. I know what God told me my purpose was in the earth, and I'm going to operate in that. And again, as soon as you start walking in that confidence, that's the thing. You know, we get afraid of walking in that confidence because people say, "Oh, you cocky," you know. You
Mm.
think you know everything. Oh, blah 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 blah. I've had people, family, that have said you post too much, but I'm like, uh, um, you you're not my clientele. I post for my clientele. I
Come
don't
on.
post for you. I post to begin to for people to see that I'm doing the work. When people see you doing the work,
Come
then that's
on.
when they say, oh, she did that wedding. She did it here. She did it at the
That's it.
mansion. She did it at
That's
the
it.
park. So that means, you know what? I gotta check her out. I gotta check them out to
That's
see,
it.
So that's it. You gotta the
That's
naysayers.
it.
Oh my God, you got to turn them off because even in your family,
That's it.
you got to turn those naysayers off because if you
Girl.
don't, you will never step out. And you're going to have those that will support you, and you're
That's
going to
right.
have those that won't support you. But
That's
then
right.
they're going to turn around and be the main ones that's going to come back and say, you know what? Um, I saw what you did, and I was so proud of you. Thank
That's
you.
right.
I appreciate it. I still love you, but I'm still gonna walk. I'm still gonna move. I'm still gonna do
That's
what
it.
God has called me to do. You know what?
That's it.
And I can't apologize for that. I think I can't remember. Nikita used to have a show, unapologetic.
Yeah.
That's where you have to be in your season.
That's right.
Don't be apologetic for moving in the things of God. You
Come on.
can't
Come
because
on.
you're calling God a liar. If you're
That's
being
it.
blessed and then you turn around and you feel guilty because you're being blessed, you need to rethink about what you're doing and why you feel that way and why you think that way. You should never
That
feel
is the
guilty if
truth.
God's blessing you. Never feel guilty because God is blessing you. Never. And don't let
And
nobody else
and
make
and
you
you
feel
said,
guilty for God blessing you either.
and oftentimes, Katrina, sometimes, we have to watch who we are allowing to speak into us. Because sometimes people don't understand the vision that God has given us.
Correct.
Sometimes, as you know, some of the things that I've been dealing with for the last 9 months now. But some people say, well, that's you shouldn't have, you should be you. But wait a minute, what you don't understand is even in the midst of he's done some things, Katrina, which I'll let them know in a few minutes about our connection too. But God has done some things through these 9 months that nobody might not get it. They might not understand it. They might not get it. But it has caused me to rise up in something that I said, God, I'm gonna do this. And it has nothing to do with not having this. It's because you have said, look, I'm sending you back to your first love. Your first love is this. It's the true helping of the people. It's the true
Mhm.
coaching of the people. It's the true,
Mhm.
building these things that these people need based on what you say, the kingdom principles. If we're not paying attention to the kingdom principles, all we're doing is spinning our wheels. It's time for us to stop sitting on the pews talking one way and letting the people on the pew die. We have got to learn to rise above some things. Allow God to build us up. Allow God to show us who to go. Because when we break away from the naysayers and the toxic waste of other people's mentality, He will open up doors for us to be connected with people that see our potential, that see the opportunity that's in us, to see the real ones that God. If we keep sitting at the same table with the
Mm-hmm.
same naysayers, we're going to stay at the same naysayer table. It's time to rise above some things, folks. When you're looking at the person from a different perspective, when you see what they see, it may not make sense. It may, Katrina, some things didn't make sense to me 2 weeks ago, but it's making sense now. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, invest in yourself. When you invest in yourself, somebody else will invest in you.
Correct.
I
Correct.
went to a whole 7 day conference that was virtual, but it had a price on it, right? But someone saw me investing in myself with my work and said, you know what? I'm going to pay that you get a VIP ticket,
Come
that you
on.
can attend this class, and it's virtual. You ain't got to worry about driving there. It's only an hour and a half a day. You ain't got to worry about doing them, but just getting in front of your computer and showing up. Can you do that? I said, oh heck. Well, I said the other word, but I said, oh heck yeah, I can do that. They said, well, I can't guarantee that you're gonna make $1 million, but from what I understand, you're gonna get a worth of knowledge. Well, that was somebody saying they saw the work that I was doing. Yeah, child.
Mm-hmm.
They saw the work. They saw some of the stress, but they also saw I'm still investing in myself without a public job. I'm still investing in myself in what I'm doing. I'm like you. I have people tell me all the time, you posting too much. You post too much. Every time I turn around, you posting. Well, then don't look. How about that? Because if you quit looking, the people that are intended to look, they will have an opportunity because you're not in the way. Move on over and let us be blessed. Move on over. And a friend of ours said this years ago. A young lady, she said, Victoria, when I was doing my lives every day, she said, Victoria, two things happen when the lights come on. And I said, what's that? She said, roaches and light.
I know
You hit
that's
the
right.
switch, and she said, roaches and light. I said, what do you mean? She said, roaches come and they scatter when they see the light. So let the roaches scatter, because she said they're going to scatter, they're going to leave you alone, but your shining light will come on too. And that's when it's going to be on you. Don't worry about it anymore. And I started listening to that, and I'm like, wait a minute, roaches, wait a minute, what are you talking about? But in the same token, it made good sense, because people always want to keep you in a box. They want to keep you in the dark. See, I'm sorry. They want to keep you in the dark. But when you start moving in the light and you don't have time to deal with the shenanigans, that's when you'll see your real clients coming. You will see the real people stand up and take notice when you get away from that toxic waste. But I'm finding out too, Katrina, if we be authentic to ourselves,
Yeah.
we got to be authentic to ourselves.
And the piece about being authentic is you can learn and glean from others because that's part of our growth, our
That's
training.
growth.
But then you
That's
have to find out what is your special gift that God
that's
has given to you. That's when
mm-hmm,
you realize who you are authentically. People use that word very lightly, but when you get to the root of who you are and who God purposed for you to be, it may fall in line with what maybe somebody else is doing, but there's going to
mm-hmm.
be just a little difference in what you do than versus what somebody else does.
You better
And
say so.
that's the thing, then that's what you build on. I tell people all the time, build on what makes you different. I used to be afraid to build on what made me different because I wanted to fit in with everybody else. I wanted to be a
Mm-hmm.
part of, that. And God said, that's not what I called you to do. People talked about you because you were different, because you were,
Mm.
not like the mainstream folk.
Ooh, that's
But
it.
then it's not till you realize that, you know what? I have to love who I am, and I have to understand that if God wants me to be this way, and if He shows me as I walk in my own authentic self, then that's when I will be able to not only, um, I would say, take the blinders off of myself,
That's
because I
it.
think a lot of times we put ourselves in our own prisons. We put
Yes, we do.
ourselves in our own
Mm,
uh, our limitations. And God tells us every day that there are new mercies every morning.
that's
I don't
right.
want you to be like somebody else. I want you to be just like who I called you to be. And then people say, but God, I don't even know who that is. That's because you're not spending time with them.
That's it. That's it. And
That
see,
was the biggest thing. When you spend
you're
time with God,
not.
He will show you exactly who you are. And if
Yes.
people don't like it, you know what? Then that's, I think somebody posted it earlier. Those aren't your true clients, those aren't your
Mm,
true friends. But then God will allow you to come back and not brag or not say, oh, I'm better than her. I
that's
told you
it.
so, motives. That was the thing that God had to really deal with me about, my motives. Yeah, nice little sweet little Katrina. We all got motives. We all
That's
got
it.
reasons why we do certain things. I'm gonna
That's
tell you
it.
something. I'm gonna be very transparent. It's probably been in the last maybe couple of years that I've been allowed. I haven't been ashamed to be transparent anymore. So
Yoo-hoo.
God allowed something to happen last year, and I was very, very upset about it. I mean, I was to the point where I was like, I was upset. I was pissed. And God ended up showing me that, you know what, you didn't need to be attached to that. That's why I cut
Come
the
on.
cord. But
Woo.
you let that other person determine your worth and your value. And God said, and and you were there for them, but now where are they for you? Nowhere to be
That's,
found.
that's,
And I'm not throwing shade on anybody,
no,
but I'm just
no.
saying
It's
this to
growth.
say that it's part of your growth.
It's our
God will
growth.
begin to say, what was your motive? Why did you do what you did? And if you didn't do it for the right reasons, I'm gonna put you in a season where I'm gonna show you. And I've been in that season of bearing before. Well, before, oh, I wanted to be this and I wanted to be that, and I wanted to be this big singer and I wanted to travel all over the world. And then all of a
Mhm.
sudden there was a season where I couldn't get to sing at a bar. I wasn't getting no calls. I wasn't
Woo.
getting no this. I wasn't getting no that. I wasn't getting no speaking engagements. There was a season where God say, I need you to go back and I need you to correct your motives. It ain't about you, but it's about me. When I
Woo.
came to the realization that, God, you're right, but he had to show me, he had to cut everything off.
Come on. Come on.
He had to remind me that, you know what? I gave you those gifts and talents, not for you, but for you to bless the kingdom. And when I came back to my own remembrance of who I was and what I'm
That's
really
it.
supposed to be doing in the earth, that's when doors began to open. That's when things began to happen. That's where elevation began to come. Even when I accepted my, giftings as a prophet, I didn't want to do that. I didn't even want to accept my calling to the ministry.
I
But
know that's right.
as I go back and I think about, that's the reason why you went through what you did, because at this particular moment in your life, this is going to bless somebody else. So it's
That's
really
it.
not about us anymore. It's really about us being a part of this big wide world called the kingdom.
And that is so true, Katrina. And I think, you know, I'm sitting here laughing because how you just described it is how God finally got my attention. This before even the things that have happened these last 9 months have happened. He was getting my attention, and I was like, wait a minute. And I remember when I did the first favorite prayer conference, I was praying to God, and I said, God, I want you to move anything. Be careful what you ask for, y'all. Anything and everything and everyone out of my life that is not going to help me grow in you and what you want for me. And all of a sudden, I started seeing people that, like you say, that should have been in the corner. They were gone. They were melting away, if you will. And then you started seeing other things started happening, but then you would see replacements, if you will, would come in, and it would be greater to rise you up. And that's when God started dealing with me on, look, you got to remember why I gave you this title of elevated, not tolerated. You're not going to tolerate just being here when I got greater for you to do. The Bible says he
Yeah.
has greater works for us to do. So how can we do greater works if we're still holding ourselves hostage and sabotaging our own life, suffocating our own life, because we're trying to do what? People please everybody else. If we're going to do what God say, we got to move out of God's way to allow God to be God. And so when God put me on my back when I first had COVID, that was eye opening for me. I hadn't been anywhere to even up to, you would think, to have contracted it. I was at home, but I got it full blown and was on my back for those 45 days. And even at
Mm.
some point, I was still trying to teach my classes. And God was like, you know what? I need you to stop. I just need you. Look, Lucy. Look, y'all know me. I like to say, pick on Lucy. Look, Lucy, I'm gonna need you to rest. You're overwhelming yourself. You're trying to be like this one. You're trying to pull this. You're trying to do this. I need you to sit down and just wait on me for a minute. And laying in that bed during that 45-day period is when God said, I'm sending you back to your first love. And I'm like, wait a minute, Jesus. Because see, y'all, COVID kind of messes with your mind sometimes. I said, look, wait a minute, Jesus. I'm not going back to my first husband, God. I don't know what you're talking about. That ain't working. And he said, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your love with me. What is your first love with me? Your first love with me is to love the people and help them get from a place that they're stuck in, because you had to learn what it was not to be stuck anymore. And I'm going, but God, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing it. But are you still doing it for the right reason?
Mm-hmm.
Last week, that's all we talked about on Elevation Moments, was setting boundaries and understanding your intentions. Because if you don't understand that, you're always going to be out of sync. You're going to be always in your own way. And when I learned, and I'm still learning, thank you, Jesus. I'm learning that even in this way, this new way of being separated from people, because people don't get it, Catrina. When you say, "Look, I'm sorry, I'm busy right now," "Oh, I'm sorry, can you call me later?" Or you don't have to say, "I'm sorry." You just don't answer the phone. You don't respond to the text. You don't. And they're like, wait a minute, she get acting funny. No, I'm not acting funny, baby. I'm acting intentionally, walking in my destiny. I can't be out of sync if I'm gonna be held down by the same stuff that's been holding me down for years. And
Correct.
sometimes it's not that anybody is good or bad for you. It's not about that. It's about God putting you in a place where He can deal with you, where He can
Correct.
help you do into what you're supposed to be doing. Where you,
Correct.
I'm like you, I didn't want to accept all of these different spiritual callings. I don't, why? Ooh, look at all the trouble people get in when they do that stuff. But at the same token, the good trouble is what you needed, because it separates the boys from the men, the women from the little girls. It separates us when we follow in His under His directions. And sometimes
Correct.
that means to lay every weight aside. Come on, y'all, lay it aside. For me, it was laying on my back, having to do nothing but and couldn't think for myself to understand, okay, guys, so what you want me to do? And even in these last 10 months, it's been a process where God is revealing stuff. I told you to finish these 2 books 2 years ago. You didn't do it. I told you to do this, but you didn't do it. So in order for me to get you to do it, I'm going to separate you from everything. I'm going to take you out of your comfort zone, out of your comfortly bed, and I'm going to put you in a place where you got to know that it's me. Now, has that meant that He hasn't worked through other people? Of course He has, but it's been
Mm-hmm.
intentional for the right reason.
Correct. Correct.
Sometimes we have to get with God so He can direct us what the intentional moves are. And sometimes we miss that. Guys, if you're watching, if you're just tuning in, we're having this conversation, and it is going so many different ways. It is truly, Catrina, you are blessing my spirit, because you're only confirming what the class is about tomorrow night. I'm telling you, those 3 steps. And some of you know there's a 3-step S process that we believe in. That's silence for strategic plan for God to show up. The 3S plan works. If you get silent, you can hear God strategically set you up for him
Mm.
to show up in you. And I'm telling you, tomorrow night, we're going to tell you how to unleash some things in your life. And Catrina is only giving us the confirmation that we need, that we're on the right track. Because, Coach, you know how it is. We go back and we review notes. And I'm sitting there going, God, why am I reviewing notes? When you said it the first time, it's what it you said, is what you said it. But here is
There
the coach coming
and
in.
I love the way you said that, because as we were talking, I heard God just download, because another thing, as us not only caregivers, because that's really what a coach is. A coach is a
Yes,
caregiver. When we've been
yes.
assigned a client, or we've been assigned someone to help better their lives, or help move them in a position where they can now stand on their own, and do and be who God has called them to be, we're caregivers. But with that, as a caregiver, we have to also learn to care for ourselves. And that is, you said it earlier, boundaries. We have to learn how to set boundaries. And we also have to learn, and we talked about this earlier, it was so hard for me to be able to turn off my mind, because God was always, even when I was sleeping, He was
Mm,
always giving me witty ideas. He was always giving me so many things, stuff that I would sometimes I would say, "Oh, I remembered in the morning," and then I didn't remember it. Then I would write it down. But one of the biggest things for me has been self care. I mean, because
mm,
those of you that don't know, I've got 3 stents. And then I was newly diagnosed as a diabetic last year. So because I was doing so much and not halfway taking care of myself, I'd lose weight here, I'd pick it back up, and not really fully investing in myself and in my health. So I want to encourage someone, definitely, to,
yes.
as a part of what God has called you to do in the earth, begin to learn how to take care of yourself. Learn how to turn off that phone, that computer. There are times where I'll turn my phone completely off, and if my kids want to get in touch with me, they know they can call my husband. But there are sometimes I just have to turn my phone off. Get no
Mhm.
Facebook notifications, no Twitter, no emails. So that comes with being able to take care of yourself, because when we pour out to so
Mm,
many people, and nobody's pouring back into us, then we deplete ourselves.
that's
So
it.
you have got to learn that self-care isn't about being selfish. You're not being selfish
No,
when you want to
it's not.
go and
That's it.
just have some downtime. One of the things that I've learned to do is to turn my mind off at night, is really just to focus on, and this is something that I've learned in various, stages, but to learn to focus on the good things that have happened in my life, not what do I got to do tomorrow, or, just put my mind in a place where, wow, it's just relaxing. And that's part of meditation. I encourage you to do that. Always remember, you have to be able to turn off your mind. You have to transform your mind to a place where it's not always thinking, and that's what I've had to learn. I've had to learn to do that. I really understand now that why that's important, because if we don't learn how to take care of ourselves first, because we're doing so much for everybody else, then when we get run down, we don't have anybody there to take care of us. And they're still wanting us to take care of them while we're laying on our sick bed. So, just learn. My husband gets on me all the time. He's like, baby, you always pour out and everything else. I want you to take care of yourself. Go get your nails done. Go get your hair done. Go get your feet done. Go do this, go do that. So, I have to remind myself that I'm worth it. I'm worth getting those things done. I'm worth, taking the time to enjoy myself. When I go out with my sisters and we do a girls trip. So, every now and then you'll see me. I'll post and I'm in Asheville, or I'm in Greenville, or I'm in DC. So it's important to take that time. Even when I'm home, my husband and I will go down to the lake. We'll go to the park, but it's just turning your mind off. Those are the things you have to do to be able to turn your mind off, because we're always thinking. God is always, um, downloading something in us that he wants us to do.
That is so true. And I mean, even when you were talking about the self-care and the different things that you do, I think sometimes we don't even plan on it. I mean, when I finished the book and I put that out there about the 40 plus, I mean, self-care is can be so simplistic but so needed that we overlook it.
Hmm.
And even when I was writing the book, I had to laugh at myself and I said, well, you know what? Whew, that means I got to go back and rewrite my self-care plan. Because see, even as coaches, we got to go back to our plans too, y'all. We's not perfect. We still working on us too. But even with that, you have to learn that everything is not nothing's gonna stop moving just because you take a break.
Come
The
on.
world ain't gonna come to an end. The cat's still gonna run across the road. The chicken's still gonna lay an egg. Just because you take a break, nothing's gonna stop. Life will continue. But if you don't take a break, you will stop and you will cease to continue. You have
Oh, yeah.
it's a part of it. Sometimes I laugh at my good friend, Coach K. She always fussing at me about, you need to rest. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but now I'm learning that it's okay. It really is okay. One of the things that I think in the industry that we don't stress enough. I'm going to stress with the coaching certification program. You have to have that in your schedule.
You have
As
to. It's
it,
mandatory.
it's
That is something that is mandatory on my calendar. I have to have that time. I have to let my clients know. Even when I have a bride that's, panicking about something, I'm like, these are my hours. And
yeah,
those are the boundaries that I set. And I
yeah,
and I'm gonna be honest with you, I have stuck with it. And that's why I think I feel at peace in my life, because you can't teach anybody what you're not practicing.
that part.
If you are trying to
That part.
teach, I don't know who this is for,
Come
but
on,
if
tell
you
it.
are not practicing what you preach, then get out. Just
Say
get
it
out.
out.
Stop
Stand
doing
down.
it.
That's
Yeah,
it.
don't do it. But you
That's
have to
it.
practice what you preach. And you have to, if you're
That's
giving a
it.
client this and telling them, you have to make it mandatory in your own life. And I have learned that over the last couple of years that, when I say I'm going to do it, when I say this is what I'm going to do, and this is where I'm going to go, and my husband and I are going to do this, or my family, blah, blah, I have to do it. It's an action. It's mandatory. Mandatory self-care is mandatory on my calendar.
Yes.
I set it up purposely so I won't slide back into, oh, you know what? I forgot. No, it's mandatory. I want somebody to
Mhm.
hear me. Make it mandatory.
Mandatory. Y'all hear? You heard me? Y'all hear the coach? She said make it mandatory. It
Victoria,
has.
make it mandatory.
Yes, ma'am. It's in my look. It's on my count. Oh, I can't show you my real screen. I'm gonna send it to you, coach, because I have a day now that's in my calendar that it's not gonna be. Some people ain't gonna like it. I don't care, but I'm sticking to it because if I'm gonna teach this master class and telling you how to be your authentic self, I got to teach you what it takes to be that authentic person, and that means the rest. Sit your happy behinds down and take it down. You can still be watching TV, but don't be watching it to get an idea. Watch it to enjoy it.
My
Go to the
family
park,
feud, family feud is my downtime TV.
girl, girl.
I love
I'm
that
with
because I love games. Family Feud, I love Family Feud. In my old age, I've watched so many different shows, but Family Feud, my mom has got me watching Family Feud now. Family Feud is her favorite show. So now she got me watching Family Feud. I love Family Feud. And I want to say this to you and to somebody else, because I used to feel this way too. It doesn't matter if people don't like it. It doesn't matter. You know, it
well,
really doesn't matter. At this point in your life, it doesn't matter whether they like it or not. You know what? Because as long as God is pleased, that's all that matters. That's something that I
true.
really had to learn, that if they don't like it, I'm sorry. I can't
Mhm.
apologize for God telling me to do this or him orchestrating this in my life. And so I don't even speak that out of my mouth anymore. Oh, I don't, I'm sorry if people don't like it. I don't even say though there are
Mhm.
certain words now that you have to put in your vocabulary that and
Mhm.
put a muffle over your mouth to make sure that you don't speak that in the atmosphere, because people
Mhm.
aren't going to like it either way, whether they tell you they don't like it or not.
That's it. And you're telling the truth. And that's, I said this to someone the other day, and I'm glad you said it because now I don't have to say it anymore. Because this is the thing. When you have a boundary and you set that boundary and then you start living by that boundary with your intentions. Because I said this just the other day in one of the lives. Setting a boundary and not living it, you might as well not have it. And if you ain't ready to live by your boundary, don't set it. So I guess that triggered something, a conversation, and the person was trying to convince me that I was wrong about saying, "Look, I don't care about that anymore. I'm just gonna live life." No, you can't. You don't. You do care. No, no, no. When I say I don't, I I really don't. If I've said it more than once, it's because I've then asked God, was that the right word I should have used? And the person kept going on. I said, well, you know what? We're going to agree to disagree. So guess what? Let's take a break. You can call me in about a week. A week? Yeah, because it's going to take me that long to finish doing what I'm doing and maybe have enough time to hear you complain because I don't like complaining. Oh, you really mean it now, don't? Yeah. Yeah. When I said yes, I'm coming back to doing the lives every day or how many days God allows, that's what I meant because it ain't going to be every day, y'all. I'm sorry. Some of y'all think it is, but it ain't going to be. It's going to be as often as God tells me to because I don't do it. This is the thing, Catrina. I don't do it on the same station at the same time. I think people think I do, but I don't. But anywho, don't matter. But anywho, this is the time. I'm not doing the same way I was doing. Catrina, I'm not doing it the same way I was doing it 2 years ago. I'm not going to be overwhelmed with it because I got other things I got to do.
Come on,
Because
that's it. When
when you
you
got to,
realize that you have to make that switch,
oh
when
yeah,
you make that switch, there's this game show that's called Switch. I love it. But
yes,
anyway, when you make that
yes,
switch, you know, it's for the next level that God has taken you. People don't realize that. And if they do realize it and they understand where you're going and why you're having to do it, then they'll still follow you. They'll still be there to support you. Maybe not all the time, but there's a reason, because there's another level of people. There's another arena, there's another target audience that he's moving you to. A lot of people didn't
mm-hmm.
understand why a lot of people do YouTube. There are millions. And why I stopped doing Facebook. I post on Facebook, but most of the things that I do now, I do them on Instagram, I do them on LinkedIn, I do them, on where I know I can hit my target audience. I
You
don't
got to
know
go
where
by
your
else.
I don't know where your target audience is, but
That's
my
it.
target audience is out there in the World Wide Web. Google,
That's it.
because I know that when people type in the keywords, they're going to bring them to me and my business.
That's it.
They'll see me pop up in the top 10 of the wedding consultants, officiants, planners
Yes.
in my area. So you got to be
Yes.
strategic about where you want your name to hit, and who I think I saw it earlier, that your name will be mentioned in rooms that you didn't even know, about. That's what it's about. There you go. Your name is being spoken in rooms that you know not of. That's what it's about. You're going to
That's
move
it.
to the next level. You're going to start being in different rooms than you were before. People may not follow me on LinkedIn, or they might not follow me on Instagram. I'll post on, but you know what? I have to go where God has told me to go. I have to go where I
That's
know
it.
the people that need my services are. And that's what you got to
That's it.
do. That's what you got to do.
That's it. It's no longer a place because if he gives us enough direction, he'll tell us which way to go. He'll tell us which channel to go. We just got to be more in tune to who we are, knowing. And I don't like to use that phrase niche because it's too much of that phrase being used. But when you find your group, when you find your people, when you know who your people are, he will direct your path how to get to your people. Now it may look like you're going around the corner, around the back road, but you still gonna get there. Katrina, I don't drive the highway because I gotta it's a mental thing. I don't drive the highway all the time. So I drive the back roads. I can see all the deers and birds and hay fields and all of that. But guess what? I'm still gonna get where I gotta get.
Correct. Correct.
And as I'm going on the direction that he allows me to go, I'm picking up more confidence and less toxic. I'm picking up more fresh air, not dead weight. Even like I said, you have your moments where you're gonna cry. You're gonna have your moments where you're gonna think, is it what's happening? But when you can wipe your eyes and get up, because I've had to do it. You have to wipe your eyes and you got to get up and declare this ain't gonna stop me. Take a 30-minute break and cry. Do what you got to do, but don't take 30 years.
Come on,
Now,
say
because
that. Say that.
Katrina, I took some years out of my life that I shouldn't have. But now I'm at the point where I ain't taking 30 years. I'm gonna take about 30 seconds, 30 minutes, whatever it takes. But then I'm gonna say, God, am I through whining yet? And most of the time he'll tell me, you didn't have to take that long. You should have been through. But that's what we do. But Katrina, we have just gone. Look, this is a free coaching session that any of y'all may have needed, that we needed, I needed. So you got a free coaching session from the coaches. Okay. Glad y'all received it. Make sure y'all hold on to it. See, this is the thing. When I tell you that it's time for us to keep moving and going forward with some things, we have to do that in a very expeditious way. We have to do it God's way. We have to understand that He has a purpose for us. And some of the things that we're going to be talking about tomorrow night at the master class, so with 3 steps that we're going to be teaching tomorrow night, is going to be dealing with understanding who you are. I want to take a little break so Katrina can get some juice. So because we're going to come back, we got a few more questions that we want to ask her about. But I want you to take a note of this. The book. We're waiting for the final notification. But check this out. All right, all right. I hope you have all been inspired because that new book is going to be released. And I can tell you those that have registered for the masterclass on tomorrow night, there are going to be 2 of you that will get a free copy of that as soon as they come in. So you do not want to miss class tomorrow night. You want to go ahead and register. Like I said, you still got time, guys. Go ahead and sign on up and just come and join us because Katrina done hype me up. I probably won't get any sleep tonight, Katrina. It's all your fault because I'm gonna be so hyped waiting for 7 o'clock that I'm not. No, I just told a lie. I'm gonna take a nap. I'm gonna take a nap. I'm gonna take a little nap. I'm gonna take a little nap. But I'm excited because, like you said tonight, it's so many things that we have gone through that we can now help other people understand and be a part of. And part of that is really learning how to be your authentic self. And God has released me to give it to you, and I'm gonna give it to you so raw. Bring your band-aids. Bring your gauze. You might have to clean up your wounds while we're in class, but it'll be okay. I promise. You will only bleed out the toxins, and you will keep in everything else that it is designed for you to take in. Okay, so no worries.
Well,
So
I was gonna say, just tell them, you know what? It's good surgery. It's almost like pruning. In order
yes,
for something to continue to grow, you got to prune it. That's just the bottom line. That's
that's
what
true.
we have to continue to prune ourselves in order for us to continue to grow and to, to reach that higher heights.
That's right.
So I would say to them, along with that, be ready for the pruning.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to go look. I had to go through it before I could even put the post out there. God took me to that place. And, this is where you had some issues. This is where you had some issues. Now I need you to understand that it's time to teach other people not to have the same issues. So, Katrina, I want to tell people. I want to get into this a little bit. I'm a part of I'm a part of the Catrina tribe now of officiants. She has given me the opportunity. She has taught us some things, and we are super excited that we could expand what we were already doing with floral arrangements, and we can expand that into something bigger. And now it's elegant elevations, weddings, florals, and more. And I know you guys have been asking, what is the wedding part? What's the wedding part? Well, I'm under the Catrina branch. She's bearing fruit, and I had to be one of those branches. And so, Katrina, tell the people about you, the officiant coach and trainer. Tell people
Wow.
how they can get in contact with you and what that looks like to be a part of your tribe.
Well, first of all, let me say this. I would say last year, as I was really seeking God about the next direction for my business, I was just asking him, what else would you have me to do? I feel like as a coordinator, as a consultant, planner, officiant, you know, I've gotten enough under my belt, that I'm pretty comfortable with doing that. And so he said, well, why don't you take what you've learned and teach it to others? And so I was like, I had to go through this thing with, and I know you have talked about this with your people, that imposter syndrome.
Oh, child.
And I was
Jesus.
like, am I ready? Am I ready? And he was like, well, if you're not ready, you need to get ready. And so I had to connect with my spiritual, mom and dad, and just ask them to be in prayer with me, to make sure that, when was going to be the right time to release that. And so I fought for a whole 6 months. And I was even like, how in the world am I going to even do this? And they were like, why are you worried about it? If God gave it to you, he'll give you the direction, the instructions to do it. So that's how it's, kind of came about. I had people that were asking me, how do you stay so busy? I'm a wedding officiant. I just got licensed, and I haven't even done my first wedding yet. And so I was like, what I learned and the pitfalls that I fell into, I want to teach people not to fall into those same pitfalls, as much as I can. People are going to
Right.
do what they want to do, and
Right.
again, if I could give you the basics, I remember my old pastor, Apostle Dana Davis, used to say, we could just get back to the basics. So
The
what I do
basics.
is I help a lot of my officiant clients get back to the basics. And then once you get your base foundation set up, then you start doing your special thing. Like with you, you've got the floral arrangements. I've got others that are doing, glammed out tennis shoes. We've got some that are doing, you know, uh,
Mhm.
candles and melts. We've got others that are doing t-shirts. So if you've got something that can accentuate your business, to kind of niche it around, and I'm using that word, to your couples, to make it
That's
specific and
right.
special for them, then that's your other part of your revenue that you can make, not just officiating a wedding, but if you've
Right.
got floral arrangements that you could do for a wedding like you've done. So that's what I'm helping my clients, helping them to do. You could be an officiant, that's great, but I need you to have some other kind of residual income that's coming in around that business that you're going into. That's what was taught to me. That's how I
Right.
branched out and doing what I'm doing. And it has worked for me. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I'm training officiants not only to, first of all, get yourself licensed. If you're not licensed through your local church, there's websites online that you can get, or licensed and ordained. I'm not going to put them out there, but you do your research. But you, if you want more information, then you come to me and we'll sit down
Mhm.
and we'll do a discovery call. Then from there, we'll start working on, moving you forward in the business. Yes, there is a fee. There are some
Mhm.
that when they joined originally at the beginning, they got grandfathered in, and then I've taken on some new clients. So it's just been really good. So that's what I'm about, teaching you how to be an effective officiant, how to brand your business, how to get it out there, and all of that great stuff. So I'm not going to put all that out there, but
Mhm.
because again, that's
Right.
part of my teaching training, and so I'm not going to teach you that unless you got to pay for it. And it's not
That's
very
it.
expensive. It's not very expensive. So if you want to know how can I be an officiant, what do I need to do, how can my business be just as successful as yours. My husband is blowing up the game, child. He don't even have a
Wow.
website, and he's getting calls left and right just because he has a Google business page. So as people begin to see you do more and more of what you do and what you love, and he just wanted to first start off doing elopements. Now he's doing full weddings. People are calling
Wow.
him. Hey, we want you to do our wedding. So. Um, oh my God! And then he's talking about, and they love me. So anyway, if you hear him in the background, that's him. But
Hey,
anyway, so
Mr.
that's what it's about. It's about finding, what you love and have a passion for. And if that's what you have a passion for, reach out to me. I definitely can help you get started.
Mhm.
It's not an
Deal.
overnight success. I just want to put that out there. Nothing is overnight, guys.
Nothing is.
You know,
Nothing is.
but if you work at it, it will work for you. It really, really
Yes.
will.
And see, and Miss Katrina, I forgot to give my disclaimer at the beginning. I just got so excited because you was here. Look, guys, she don't work for free at all. So she ain't gonna. If she had even told you what the dollar was, I was gonna block it because when you have a true passion and you have a service that brings in revenues, it's worth you paying to have a consultation. And she might give you about 5 minutes, but that's it. If you really want to know the ins and out, then you got to be like the rest of us. You got to come to training, and you got to pay the fee to play the game, and you got to be able to understand that her time is valuable. If you ain't gonna be there, just make sure you follow up. But she ain't quoting no prices tonight. All I can say is if you really want to get into the business, she is probably the queen that you need to call. I'm gonna put it like that. I don't say I don't look, Katrina. I really don't want to share you. I'm being banned.
Well,
I
no,
don't want to
you're
share.
not being bad. You're not being bad. It's just that, we were talking about this earlier. Once you really find out, what you're supposed to be doing, then you're supposed to take that. And I say this all the time. I love the scripture where it says, be fruitful and multiply. And I say this to people all the time. Once you've learned what your kingdom principles are and you're operating in those, you're supposed to take those kingdom principles, whatever industry you're in, and you're supposed to pass those along to someone else. People do it all the time. We see the sponsorships, we see the advertisements on Facebook, coaching, can reach out to me. I can show you how to be a successful coach. I can show you how to, do stuff on Canva. I can show you how to do stuff on TikTok, all of that. People are always looking for your business, but you have to be mindful. Don't let people just tell you anything and not get your money's worth. I promise you, if you stick with me, you're going to get your money's worth. I've got a lot of clients, and students that are making successful businesses out of this, and I love it. Decorators, um, I've got people that are doing uh, 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 calligraphy, for
Mhm.
lettering and things like that, invitations. So whatever you feel your gifts are in the, you don't necessarily have to be wet. It doesn't necessarily have to be weddings. It could be anything.
That's
So
it.
just do it. Just do it. I just tell people, just do it. Try
Do
it. One thing you can do is just fail. And if it fails, that means you haven't, if you really love it and you want to do it, you haven't put the work in to find out how am I going to be successful. We're going to have a class next Sunday about taxes. That
it.
was the biggest scare for me because I was like, God, if I'm going to start this business, I don't want the
Yep.
IRS coming after me.
You gotta do it
You
right.
need to tell me what I need to do to make sure that when I file my taxes at the end of the year, how can I be successful and not have the IRS looking down my throat, talking about, oh, Katrina, you made this much money, but you didn't file it, or this. So we're going to have
Right.
a tax accountant. Pastor Curry is going to come in next week. He spoke at my conference last year. He's going to come in and talk to you about that. So I help clients start from the beginning all the way to where at this point, if I know that you are doing what you're doing and you're running with it, I can let you go. You know what I'm saying? Because now you got to operate in your own gifting. You got to operate in your own talents.
And that's the thing. You're not just leaving us high and dry. You're
Mm-hmm.
giving us the tools and you're giving us the resources that, if, like you said, if we take them and do what you instruct us to do and show us how to do, then we can do it. We can make whatever we want to make if we do the right thing first. So teacher, I want you to see some, teacher, and see what you think, teacher.
Oh, that is beautiful. And you know
Yes,
what? And I'm gonna tell you something because this is just so in line to what I truly believe God has ordained for me to do in this season. And I think you talked about it years ago. It's about collaboration. It's about
definitely.
connections. If we don't take what we know to help others to move into their destiny, then God is going to cut off our blessings. And I told God, I don't want that to ever happen to me. Whatever I know, I want to be able to pour that into someone else. And so every last one of you guys have so many gifts and talents. Whenever, like when Victoria was telling us about her being able to do videos for some of the students, I poured it out there, to them to let them know,
Mhm.
hey, reach out to her. No, yes, she's going to charge you. This isn't a free service. If you want this to be free, then you need to go out there and do it yourself, and there's free things that you can
Oh yeah.
do. But if you want it to be done right, reach out to those people that can help you do it right. And so Victoria has so graciously offered those services to, the students, that for flyers and for commercials, and that was just a beautiful example of now what she's pushing out for her business. We've got some that are doing blinged out tennis shoes,
Yeah.
for brides and grooms. I just got another one the other day. She's doing T-shirts that says,
Wow.
he's my rib, I'm her rib, things like
Oh.
that. It's just, there's so many gifts and talents. I've got one that's an opera singer, you know.
Oh
So,
wow.
all of the ones that have come to me say, "Oh, I don't have but one thing," and if that's just what you want to do as an officiant, there's nothing wrong with that.
That's
But
right.
you walk in that with
That's
confidence,
right.
walk in that and know that I've got that one gift. And that one gift, I'm gonna run it till the wheels fall off. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. That's
So
it.
that's what I teach. I got another couple that's coming in. They're doing premarital because his wife's a psychologist. So
That's
they
great.
want to only officiate, but they want to be able to do counseling
That's
for their
great.
couple. So you guys have so many gifts and talents, and don't hide them under a bushel, but put them out there. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
good. That's
So
good.
I love it. I absolutely. It makes me feel good. Somebody was like, "Well, why aren't you doing that? Why aren't you making?" Yeah, I'm like, "Why do I? That's not my lane. Stay in your lane. Stay
Stay in
in
your
your
lane.
Learn how to
That's
stay in your lane. Do what God's
that's it.
called you to do. Let Victoria do what she do. Let the others do what they do. Let you
That's
do what
true.
you do. Stay in your lane. But if God's called you to something different, make sure it's His calling and not what you want to do.
That's true. And you said that, and it's like I laughed when you first mentioned it to me. I was like, me? Do somebody's wedding? Who, me? you know. But then when I started thinking about, like you said earlier, the bits and pieces of what we've done all of our life, you can intertwine these gifts and talents. We're supposed to be having seven different streams of income. But if you
Mm-hmm.
stay in your lane, you can transition so many of your gifts and talents in different areas that it all comes back together. It
Oh
makes a
my
perfect.
God. I've got some, Lord, I'm prophetically speaking to somebody. I don't know who this is. Um,
Oh, child.
there's someone on here right now, God knows, please, Lord, forgive me, that has gift and talents in writing.
Mm,
You could put that out there that you could write ceremonies. You could
come on,
develop
talk to
because you could
tell.
develop unique ceremonies for couples. I have a coach that I follow out of California. Do you know that she charges $3,000 for from her discovery to her 3 days of meeting with the couple to develop their own unique story, and
Oh,
then she
wow.
does ceremony the day of. So she takes the time to craft, and I do the same thing. All of my ceremonies are copywritten by me, but she takes the
Right.
time to uniquely craft the ceremonies for the couple to include their love story, how they met,
Oh,
just
wow.
all kind of little quirky stuff, that because that's really what a ceremony should be about. It's not the traditional book anymore, the thee, thou, and thus. It's about telling a love story. And that's what
That's
weddings are
great.
all about,
That's
So I
right.
don't know who in the world that was for, but
Honey,
God knows.
yeah, I tell you, those of you out there watching, you better take heed because that's prophetic right there. That is the truth. Because
Oh my God.
even when I do my wedding bouquets, there's something in the floral arrangement that talks about their life. One of the couples I did a couple of years ago, her wedding bouquet has chocolate kisses in her bouquet, and she's like, her family said, "What? Why?" And so this was another preacher that was doing the ceremony. He started talking about it, and her groom, her husband now, started picking the kisses out of her bouquet, and he was eating them. Well, the
Oh,
story was they met in the candy aisle at a grocery store, and they went to grab the last bag of kisses on the shelf. So we caught, and so that was their story that they will always eat kisses. And so we put those in the bouquet, and he has a kiss on his boutonniere. But that's how the bouquet was formed. But when you like you said, when you form the story around that lady is unique. Somebody better be listening because honey, that's some more money out there for that right there. Look,
mm.
Coach, I can't do that now. I'm gonna tell you, I make the bouquets, but I I can't. But if somebody out there wanting to do it, the boss over here, she can tell you how to start getting ready for it. You better call her. You better find somebody that can help you get to that next level. That's a great idea, though. That's amazing. I'm sure
Oh,
that somebody
I'm
out there
telling you,
that's listening.
I just got my MBA in wedding consultation, and when I actually did the online class, they were touching so many different things and elements about weddings now because
Mhm.
traditionally we've always either, in our culture, we've always sung the Lord's Prayer, or we've always jumped the
Mhm.
broom. Well, there's so many different now. This one I did not this weekend because I was off, but weekend before last, they did something called a peanut butter and jelly ritual. And it was with is
Oh.
they just took peanut butter and jelly, and it was near the end of the ceremony. And so the officiant, because I was coordinating it, so the officiant had them to take a slice of bread, and she had the peanut butter, he had the jelly. They spread it on.
Oh.
She talked about this little verbiage of what peanut butter being separate, peanut butter and jelly being separate, and then when you put them together in a sandwich, then they put the sandwich together, and then they cut it, and then they fed each other.
Oh.
So there's
See,
been there's another one that's out there about the five elements. If nobody's ever heard about that one, it's
I heard
cayenne
that one.
pepper, honey, vinegar, and something else. And each of the elements have a testament to marriage and talks about the different um, avenues or aspects of a marriage that you'll go through based on that flavor, that seasoning. There's one called the unity tree, where the couple will buy a tree, and then they feed the tree water and soil. So it talks about what the water means in a marriage, and what the soil means in a
Mm.
marriage, how it should build up the roots, and how your marriage is to be strong from the roots and grow out to be this beautiful tree. So there are so many things that I've been teaching some of my students about the different rituals. There's a hand fasting ritual, and so I've learned these things over the years, that you have to be able to know those things. So when you get ready to do a wedding, you know, you're not just looking crazy like I've never done that before. So you become familiar with it, because it's
Mm.
a lot of stuff out there. Couples are doing different things now.
Child, can you just find Abraham? Tell Mr. Reese to find Abraham, because I'm ready. I want to do all of those in my way. I can't do all of those though. They sound so nice though. But tell Mr. Reese to find Abraham so he can do my wedding. I'm ready. Abraham, oh Abraham, where are the Abraham? But
Well, one of the things that we are getting ready to branch out, because we just started doing it, because I do coordinating, but we're going to be offering a package now where he's going to be officiating and I'll be coordinating. So that's now going to be a package we're going to be doing together. And we're also going to be offering a package where we both will be up there together doing the ceremony with the couple. I've seen that done before, and my coach has been, pushing me to say, why don't you and your couple, your husband, do a joint ceremony together? So there's so many things that are out there that you just got to find what you like and do it.
yeah, find your niche. And see, now you've already touched on it, but I want to just have a little bit more. What's it like working with your husband in this film? I mean, y'all are so cute. I mean, we can all see the pictures, and it just makes me like, I just giggle every time I say, look at them two look at them two old little birds, just loving on each other. But y'all are such a cute couple doing what you do. What's that like? Does that ever get like, look, don't you be doing that? I'm gonna do that. Yeah. What is it like having that connection together?
Well, I'm going to be transparent because that's just who I am in this season. So we do have our bump and head moments, because
Wow.
now he feels like he's got a little bit little umph, and so I don't need to tell him what to do. But he does allow me to coach him, in
Oh,
different
that's so
areas,
sweet.
and so I love that. So at first it was, it started out being a little, a little scary, because um he's an alpha male, and alpha males sometimes don't like to be told what to do. But over time he has really respected, and he's seen me, because even when I started doing weddings and he was traveling with me, especially long distance, he would go with me and he would see me in operation, and then he was like, you know what, I think I could do that. And I because my husband has that type of personality, he meets no stranger. So
Right.
when he did his first wedding, it was actually a wedding. It wasn't an elopement. So he was just thrown in, head first. And he made it through, and they loved him. They gave him a tip,
Oh
because it,
wow.
it began to be natural. And that's another thing. If you do a great job, you're going to be tipped. I've
Yep.
had I've had plenty of clients that tip me. I always ask for a review, whatever industry, whatever you're doing. Always, if you, Victoria, with your students, you do the same thing. Give me a
Mhm.
review. Let people know how I'm doing. Let people know
Yep.
how the class has been a blessing to them. So those are the things you do to build your business.
That's
But yeah,
it.
we
It.
work pretty good together.
Well, y'all make it look so that to me that makes it even more romantic to see you two together. And I mean, I've seen some of the pictures where you can see he's standing off to the side while you're doing it, or you're close by while he's doing it, and it's just very unique. See, when I'm telling y'all, when Abraham comes, I already know what the deal gonna be. I just need Abraham to come on, do his business. But anywho,
Well,
but it
let
just
me
look,
say this though. Let
it
me say
makes it
this. Let me say
so
this, because
sweet.
people don't realize that we actually were in business together when we first met, because I used to do pound cakes, and so we started out together selling pound cakes.
Oh,
Yep, yep. We started out together. I would bake the 5 flavor pound cakes, and he
oh,
would deliver
so
them.
y'all
So
was sweet enough to
we,
try it in.
yeah, we've done business together before, but this right here has just taken it to a total different level.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, that's amazing. So that just tells our couples out there that you can work together. You might have a little bumps and knocks, but you can make it because we have proof. We've seen this couple in action, so we know that it does work. You just gotta, do how you gotta do to make it work. And y'all make it look so easy. I mean, even at at the training, he was being that husband, but he was also being that student, and you could just see that he's really into backing up whatever you tell us. He's backing it up with his experience with work, not only working it for himself, but you could tell he's saying, this is what she's taught me, so I know it works. And you could hear that in his voice, which made it even more I can't even think of a word. It just made it really good just to see you two guys working together. And like I said, he's got to train my Abraham when he comes. I'm just gonna say, Katrina, could you hook? I got a coaching session for Abraham. Can you go ahead and hook it up? I know what the next thing you need to do is do something with having what do you call it, a speed date, and then everybody who goes to the speed dating gets 10% off their wedding, or I don't know. See, I'm trying to find Abraham. I'm
Well,
just
you
saying.
know what? You could do that yourself.
I could, Coach. I might have to. I might just have to, collaborate with you on that, and we just do that. Have a speed date marriage. I mean, if they have the show married, what it was a blind married date, something,
Um, yeah, they got
marriage
all
at
kinds of
first sight or something.
they
We
got all
could
kinds
do
of stuff.
that. We could do blind date and marriage. There you go. Go through the date, the speed dating, get your mate, and get married at the end. That's perfect. See, I just got to put a message out there that whoever comes, they got to know what Abraham means. If they don't know what
Correct.
Abraham means, then they're not the one, unfortunately. Well, Katrina, I have enjoyed this so much, and there's so much more that you have to give to us. And so you got to come back. You got to be a part and give us updates how things are going in the next session, the next training session that you're going to be giving, and giving us all kinds of things. Stephanie, you better believe it. Go to speed dating. Love it. See, Stephanie, we're gonna work on that with the coach and see if we can't get that together.
See there, I'm telling that, and that's what
See?
I love. There's so many ideas out there, and people, when you do something that somebody's not else is not doing, that makes you a trailblazer.
Okay, now. I'm all for that. I like to set little new rails for everybody else to follow. So we just gonna have a group meeting on that because I think that's gonna be something we're gonna have to look at. There's some other things that you and I have talked about, and crazy. That is crazy. Wait, Stephanie, hold up. I got to get Abraham first. But there's a lot of things, there's a couple of other ideas that, you and I have talked about that I'm really, after, this week or two, I'm really going to get serious about and start planning for 2024 because I'm just really excited about doing, what we talked about. I think it's going to be an amazing idea. And with Coach Stephanie, on this side of the river with me too, I think we can all kind of collaborate. And even, the rest of the team that's under your leadership, I'm all for a team effort, everybody having, a piece of the pie. And like you already showed us, there's a left work out there for us. We just got to go out there and get the daggone thing and do the daggone thing right. But we're so glad that you could be with us on tonight. You have given us so much motivation, inspiration, and you have allowed us to see some other things on the other side. And just the coaching itself tonight has meant so much, and the confirmation for the master class on the morning night. I'm really excited that God had allowed me to have you on the show the day before, because now that just puts everything into place. And so now I'm not, I think I'm gonna go to sleep tonight because now I think it's been completely confirmed how things are gonna roll. We're gonna, yes, look, Coach, I'm gonna try to get that in at the right time. Let me see, what time is it? Yep, see, it's almost, I got about 2 hours, and then I'm gonna be like, zoom out. I'm not gonna talk to nobody. But Coach, we thank you so much for being with us on tonight. It's just always a pleasure to be in your presence. You give us so much to think about, and and I am ever grateful to you for not just being my friend, not being the coach, not being the businesswoman, but being the mighty woman of God that you are. That means more to me than anything. And you have definitely inspired me in so many different ways. And if I haven't told you lately, I kind of sort of love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it, Coach.
Oh, well, I love you too. And thank you so much. I appreciate, you giving me this platform, and it's just up from here.
Yes, that's it. That's it. You said that, but you know what? We have a sponsor for Uncensored Conversation, and he has a song, and I'm going to play it just for you.
I'm all the way up. More bottles, more bottles, more bottles, more bottles, more bottles. I'm all the way up.
Oh my God, now that's prophetic.
Hunty, Donnie got the beats. He is our good friend. He's our sponsor from behind the scenes, and he's allowed us to be able to use his music whenever we wanted to. And I was like, you know what? Because I did a whole nother video with him singing that song on your intro, and I said, do I want to do that one or this one? So it was just befitting that I just put that little piece out though. So Donnie B got the beats. We're all the way up. So you just keep on moving forward, lady, because you are all the way up. And we look forward to see that next level that you're getting ready to walk into. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Would you like to give our visitors, our listening audience, one last piece of information before we close out?
Yeah, I think I mentioned it earlier. For those that can or would like to, we're going to be having next Sunday our tax guru to come and talk to you about. And it doesn't matter whether you're in the wedding business, whatever business you are in. It's good to always know tax financial education. I'm a big component for that. You need to know, is your business aligned correctly for tax season? So please join us. Yeah, join us for next Sunday. We'll be doing that from 3 to 5. Some other good things coming down the pipe in next year. In March, I'll be heading to Paris. That I'll be speaking at a women's conference there. So I'm very excited about that. So definitely will love your prayers. And then we are really moving forward with our Roddy Ranch. We'll be doing some more things with that. So you'll be seeing that coming down the pipe as well. So God is doing the thing. He's just, blowing our minds.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, we're gonna stay posted, guys, and you'll know that we'll know, because when she posts it out there, we're gonna make sure that everybody knows it. You're gonna have to find us on all of our social media. She's already told you you're not going to always find us on Facebook. You got to find us while we are in this arena that we're going to be into. And I'm like you, Catrina. Facebook is good. We love you. We do. But this is not the only place that you can find us in our niches and what we do to give back to the kingdom of God in our businesses. And so just kind of go out there and start reaching out to us, get your email information into us so that we can put you on our list, so that we can keep on building those resources, so that we can keep moving forward. Because you never know, you might be a bride today, but you might just be an officiant under Catrina Reese LLC. Never know. But Catrina, thank you so much. We are going to be talking to you this week. We got some things that we want to share with you that's getting ready to come up. Something that you and Coach K had been speaking over my life and saying for a couple of years. And we have finalized what we need to finalize to push the go button on that as well. So we're going to be doing that. And so we want to include those people that have been not in the public's eye of being our support, but those people that have been speaking life into us throughout the process. And so we definitely will be in touch with you this week to let you know what's getting ready to happen on that side of the river, because we don't stop.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Something you said, and I'm going to put it like this. You said, I don't know why you think you got to have that. You already got that. Just go ahead and do that. And so I did my final research to prove that I didn't need that, and I can do that because I already got that. So now it's that. So I just wanted to be able to share it with you, because you spoke it. You and Coach K, y'all been speaking it over my life for ever since we started doing the Coaches on Parade. And I want to thank you in advance for being a part of that energy that I needed.
Oh,
And
wow.
so we're definitely
Thank
going to be talking to you about that. Because, guys, things are coming up in 24. You better get ready, because we're moving on up. We're moving on up. It has been my pleasure again. Next week we have the phenomenal Mahara. Y'all know I'm bad with names. Look, this little young girl is Katrina. This little girl, Mahara Cummins, is coming next week. She is a gospel legend already at her ripe age of 20 plus.
Oh,
All right,
wow.
30 yet. This young lady, her voice, oh my God. Whew. This gospel artist is coming to our show next Sunday night at 7:00. I hope you all can join in and be with us to hear her. She's going to talk about her journey. She's going to talk about her new her videos, all things that she's got out there. But I'm telling you, it's going to be amazing to have this young lady on the show next Sunday. Katrina, I don't know. I might have to put as a resource, because she got it. She got it.
Well, like I said, we've got people that are doing so many different things, and if she got the voice to do that, then like I said, we got an opera singer already in the niche, and he's getting ready to start doing weddings in November. So
Wow.
come on, tell him come
Yeah.
on in.
We're going to bring them in with us. All right, guys, we always want to end by telling you it is time for you to be empowered, embraced, and educated, to be elevated and not tolerated. We'll see you real soon.
Bye.